Okay, today is Tuesday, February 5th, and we're doing Eureka Math Lesson 4.7, Module 4, Lesson 7. Okay, yesterday you did math a little bit differently because you had a sub. What did you do to learn math yesterday? Everyone, 1, 2, 3. Zern, very good. But if you go online, you'll notice that I still recorded a 4.6 video for nobody. I talked to myself, and I taught myself how to do the math. Just so if you wanted to and you were absent yesterday, you can go on and watch that video. Okay, you can also do Zern. Today requires you to understand yesterday's concept because today builds upon yesterday's concept. Yesterday we learned how to use pictures, use arrays. We drew rows and columns of pictures to find a fraction of a set of items. Yes? Today I'm going to show you how you can use tape diagrams to multiply a whole number by a fraction. Okay? Let's first talk about the problem of the day. I want to review from yesterday. The denominator always tells us how many groups we're trying to split our array into, and so it helps to put each group in a column like this. Okay, oops, sorry. Okay, now this kind of drawing right here, where you have lots of objects arranged into rows and columns, is called an array. Everyone say array. Array. Very good. We're going to build upon that knowledge today. If the problem's asking us to find 3/5 of 35, again, it's a fraction of a set. What fraction do we have? What's our fraction? 3. Everyone with confidence, what's our fraction? 3/5 of a set. How many do we have in our set? 35. So I've drawn 35 circles into an array. You'll notice I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I went back to the next row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How come I did that? How come I did 5 circles before going into my next row? Christopher?
It's because your denominator is 5.
So it tells me I want to split it into 5 groups. Do you see how this lets me easily split it into 5 groups? If I put 5 circles in each row, how many rows do you think I have altogether?
7.
Go ahead and draw yourself an array, a set of 35 items. It could be circles, triangles, squares. You don't need to erase your problem of the day. This is a separate thing. Go ahead and draw an array of 35. Now that we have our array, this is review from yesterday. If I want to find 3/5 of them, how many of these groups do I need? 3. So I need these ones here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So go ahead and shade in 3/5 of 35, and we can find that 3/5 of 35 is how many? 21. And this is review from yesterday. This is what we learned how to do yesterday through Zern or through your sub or through watching the video that I made. Okay, this is one way to find a fraction of a set. Now I'm going to show you another way using a tape diagram. Okay, so we know that we're trying to find 3/5 of a total amount, and our total amount is 35. So I drew a tape diagram, and you will draw a tape diagram, and the entire piece of tape is 35 because we know our total is 35. Now, next step, we have to split that into 5th size pieces. Remember that our denominator always tells us how many pieces we're splitting it up into. So what's our denominator? 5. So we have to split the entire piece of tape into how many equal size sections? 1, 2, 3. So you draw 4 lines to split it into 5 sections. Go ahead and do that to your tape diagram. Now, the numerator tells us we're trying to find how many of those fifths? 3/5. So here's 1/5, 2/5, and 3/5. So you'll notice I drew a question mark showing 3 of those fifths. Now, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I will always write out my calculations with the number of units in the way that it says on the board. This is what I'm looking for. I want you to show that 5 units, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units, altogether is equal to 35. Go ahead and write 5 units equals 35 underneath your tape diagram. So I write it down. 5 units equals 35. Now, if I know that 5 units are worth 35, how can I figure out how much 1 unit is worth? Well, I have to take that 35 and divide it by what? 5. Is that the same thing as 35 over 5? Okay, which is 7. So then if I know that this 1 unit is 7, how can I find how many? Remember, we're trying to find 3 units altogether. So that unit is 7, that unit is 7, and that unit is 7. So how can I find out how much 3 units is worth? What math equation could I do? Niv?
3 times 7.
Good. 7 times 3 or 3 times 7, which is 21. So now we got the same answer using an array and using a tape diagram. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. When we're working on finding a fraction of a set, I want you to know that the word of really means multiplication. This isn't the x that Aradna loves. This x means multiplication. So if I say 3/5 of 35, what's a way I can write that using multiplication? Well, all you have to do is think about the word of means multiply. So it means 3/5 times 35. Or if it says 5/6 of 18, I could also write that as 5/6 times 18. If I have a problem that says 1/3 times 6, that's the same thing as 1/3. I'm trying to find 1/3 of 6. So you need to know when you see the word of or a multiplication sign, they're interchangeable. With that in mind, if you see this problem, 1/3 times 6, are you able to do that using a tape diagram? Yeah, because you know you're just trying to find 1/3 of the 6th. Let me show you what I mean. This time, we don't know the value of our entire piece of tape because we don't know the value of the number, okay? But we do know that if I split it into 3 equal sections, 2 of those sections, 2/3 of the number is 8. So now we know we have to write the stuff about units, so let's figure it out. How many units is equal to 8? So this time I'm going to write 2 units is equal to 8. Therefore, 1 unit is 8 divided by 2, or what? 4. But we're trying to find the value of how many units? 1, 2, 3 units. Do you see how the question mark wants us to find the value of the entire unit? Okay, 3 units. So 3 units then will be 4 times 3, which is 12. So therefore the number is 12. This question is a little bit different than the other questions because instead of finding the value of the fraction, this time we're given the value of the fraction and we want to find the value of the whole. Do you see the difference? It's kind of like working backwards. Make sense?